This is the John Brown Alliance, where we don't fear, we fight. We're old school, unscripted, and we absolutely understand the assignment. Um, for you younger folks out there who's new to the game, I just need to do this right now. For some reason, at some point after I graduated high school, basic civics lessons were taken out of public schools. There is a lack of understanding through many generations about the three branches of government and how they work. So, I would honestly advise you to concentrate your efforts on something more than petitions to impeach Donald Trump. This is absolutely Civics 101. You can get 10 million people to sign your petition to impeach Donald Trump. It's not going to happen. So stop wasting your time. This is clickbait, number one, and it's just some bullshit. So people can feel good that they did something. And in this moment in time, we need a little more than that type of bullshit. And I'm just seeing too much of it. It's getting really disgusting. And we have, since the first black person was brought to the United States of America as an enslaved individual, and the indigenous people, been fighting this battle. We don't need you to come in here with your petitions. We really don't. Not like that. That's just all it is trying to get subscribers. And I would like you to like and subscribe to this video so that you can get my information. But it's not about the numbers for me. It's not about getting paid by anyone. Because I'm doing this absolutely for free right now. And the only reason I did it is because my moral compass made me do it. Now, I've been in a civil rights movement since the 1990s, and I chose to take a step back and let the elders get the glory and let certain individuals who were making more sacrifices than I was get the glory. I never wanted to be broadcasting on anything or even see my face shown. I always wrote, and that's what I did. I wrote articles for News from Indian Country. I wrote articles in Indian News Today, and that was way back in the day, in the 1990s, when we had the prison movement. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is, there are certain things that make an impact now that we have this social media. And people really think it's doing something, and it's not. And there are exercises in futility. And as long as the law right now dictates that we respect the majority in Congress and the Senate and the presidency, there is no possible way your petition of however many people to impeach Donald Trump is going to work. Unlike during the civil rights movement in the 1960s, the Supreme Court is working against you. Donald Trump and Lindsey Graham have planted in every state of the union judges on federal courts that are going to deny your petition. So you're wasting your time. You are wasting space right now on YouTube with that kind of stuff. And I can't tell anybody else what to do, but that's a bullshit route. Nothing's gonna come of that. So I want to give you an update on some things. that a lot of people missed and tie it into the general strike movement. Before there was Kilmer Garcia, there was Leonard Peltier. And his most silent and possibly last act of President of the United States, Joe Biden pardoned Leonard Peltier and sent him back home to the reservation. Leonard Peltier spent nearly 50 years in federal prison for a crime he did not commit. Now, that being said, I and many other people, black, white, and otherwise, have been engaged since day one. Now, some of this happened before I was able to be an activist, but there are people through the generations that have stayed steadfast on this fight. And now Joe Biden pardoned this man after long last and a lot of hard work. And what does he do? Leonard Peltier gets out and supports immigrants coming to the United States of America. Now, I get a lot of flack off of a lot of people of different races. And I did, especially when Trump first got elected, about how come you're not joining up with Black Lives Matter, and how come you're not doing this, and you're not talking about this issue or that issue. The reason is you have to get on the bus that is closest to you to get to the destination where you're going. And I know that sounds like a bunch of nonsense to a lot of you, but what I'm saying is that you have to sometimes deviate from the goal and take a road trip instead of taking the straight line. Now, when Native Americans were fighting issues like the Washington Redskins and tribal rights and water rights and things like that, it wasn't until the 2000s that black people actually took over, for the most part, in my area, the Redskins debate. Now, an individual that was going to run for president, a black man, actually went out to Standing Rock and did podcasts from there when no one was watching. So if you're black in America and you're asking why Native Americans weren't there for the civil rights, for George Floyd and all that, we were there. Don't be the same asshole that white people have been to us. Please don't go that route. Because when George Floyd was killed, Native Americans came to Washington, D.C. and were among white people, of all people, that got pepper sprayed by Donald Trump in his first administration. So instead of sitting here cherry picking what you want to post on YouTube so that it gets you more clickbait, be true to the facts. Don't misrepresent. And yeah, I spent many years in many communities. Black, white, Latino, Native American, all those. And I have listened to the stories instead of running off at my mouth. And at this point, I feel at 53 years old that I am educated enough to at least relate some of those things to you. Right now is the best time in American history where all of these issues can come together and save this democracy. all people can come together and do this. And every time I see videos that are anti-ICE, there's a whole lot of white people in them. So we shouldn't squander that. We shouldn't squander Native Americans or Latinos, and we should stop with this find the fuck out shit, because shit's getting real, and the people you alienate like me are backing away. Every time you say something about Native Americans not being there, I ask you, what did you do to find out where our protests were? Nothing. If it didn't happen on the news, then you claim it didn't happen and we weren't there. That's not what an educated person does. You question everything and every topic that comes up. And if you are really honestly interested in why we did not show up at black protests, maybe you need to look in the mirror. Because a lot of Native Americans that showed up at black protests look just like you. Because unlike Hollywood movies, Native Americans don't look like Turkish people and white people in red face. But I digress. Now, when you wake up in the morning tomorrow and you either cook your bacon and eggs or heat up your stuff in the microwave or drink your coffee, there are people on American soil that are being made to put their hand behind their backs, kneel down, and eat out of a bowl like dogs. Now, this might be new to all these people with these petitions to impeach Donald Trump. But for people that look like me, we have been dealing with treatment like this since the first white person landed in America. We appreciate what you are trying to do, but sometimes you can help in the wrong way. It's kind of like it's starting to feel like the I have a black friend syndrome. Unjustified rage over race sparked blind accusations with no proof. We already fought wars on this land, so we didn't have to endure this again. And here we are. I don't understand this. This is no longer a choice. Our ancestors and this nation's children deserve better. So like I promised, I'm going to update for you what is happening with the general strike. And hopefully after what you heard me say, you will understand that it needs every single one of us for this to happen. If you do not want this to come to fisticuffs and violence, this is our last chance to stop this. And it has to be in unison. We got to put our shit aside, stop the bullshit. Waiting for an election is not an option right now. We are either a constitutional democracy or we're not. Now, in my first video about this, we talked about day 1, September 1st, Labor Day. We're calling for a nationwide blackout. Walmart, Target, and any other place that you do business with, on that day, do not visit stores that are open. Because, most likely, people who are going to get deported for working those days are going to be working those days. So we also ask that we implement day 1, September 1st, Labor Day, as a day without immigrants. And those people who are probably going to get apprehended by ICE and kidnapped do not show up for work. And we want this to happen in all 50 states. Day 2 is September 2nd. If you absolutely believe that the people that defended this nation on January 6th against insurrectionists and did not get their due, this is your Back the Blue Day. Now what we're asking for is police officers in 50 states to have a nationwide sick out or take vacation that day. Now, in your own groups, this needs to be implemented silently and in succession. One guy puts in for vacation, the other guy puts in for vacation, and when it stresses that police department, the rest call in sick. In unison, if you really want to shut down this shit on September 7th, we're also asking TSA agents, pilots, stewardesses, and air traffic controllers to do a sick out as well. Now, if people who run trains and other types of public transportation want to do this, then we encourage you to do so. Every day of the general strike for September is designed to shut down a certain segment of society that depends on the labor of the people that MAGA is trying to starve to death. Tax and perform what I consider a form of economic genocide on low-wage workers, people that make less than $100,000 a year. All of you are included in this. And what it is taxation, absolutely without representation, to include not funding states, education, food assistance, Medicaid, and school lunches. These are monies that have already been allocated by the last Congress under Joe Biden, that has been seized by the Trump administration and is not being distributed according to the United States Congress, who has the power of the purse. So we're announcing on day 3, September 3rd, 2025, is going to be Tow Truck Driver Appreciation Day, of all things. And the reason why is because in the state of California, where they have been going through the streets paramilitary dressed and ICE agents just going, hither and to, kidnapping American citizens, tow truck drivers have been towing ICE vehicles. They have been followed by citizens who are using their personal cameras on their phones. Now, what we are asking is in solidarity. On that day, we need every single solitary person in 50 states to document every ICE interaction with immigrants that you can. Turn your phone on and tape. And some of you need to not just tape, you need to intervene. But I'll get back to that in a second. We need tow truck drivers all over the United States and all 50 states to duplicate the movement that is happening in California right now. This will be an ultimate shutdown, if it is executed properly, of ICE raids throughout the United States. And it has to be done all at once. Now, I want to get back to intervention. There are two things that I will not tolerate. One is the abuse of elders. The other is the abuse of children. There is a high likelihood that many of us who don't play it safe and look for clickbait on YouTube might get arrested. I'm fine with that. There is a high probability that somebody that looks like me might spend maybe 2 hours in the United States in detention, if I'm lucky, and then be shipped off to a country I have never been to as a Native American. That struggle is real. So you have two choices. You can keep circulating petitions, or we can make this thing happen together. But we need everybody. And I mean every race, religion, creed, and sexual proclivity involved in this. Right now. This is the time when their guard is down and they're weak and they're focused on all this other stuff and trying to protect their king. This is the time. Now, one thing that MAGA had right was you got to flood the zone. Now, they flooded the zone in the media with people like Steve Bannon and Rogan and Fox News. Let's flood the zone in the street, because that's where we work best. The United States government made the biggest mistake in American history. All the talented military and police officers and lawyers that did not agree with Donald Trump have been fired or gotten rid of. That's the talent we have at our disposal right now. Let's get this done. It's quite simple. And it is absolutely our constitutional obligation as citizens of America. This is the John Brown Alliance. Let's get work wise and let's get the fucking job done.